This video covers the features and settings of the Universal Moving Average Crossover EA. It operates on charts created by the custom charting indicators for Metatrader 5, such as RangeBars, tick and volume charts, Ultimate Renko, 3-line break, and seconds charting indicators. The EA is distributed with these custom charting indicators and is open source. Download links are listed in the description. After installing one of the custom charting indicators, the EA is accessible from the relevant EAs folder of the Expert Advisors branch on the Navigator panel. The EA uses a basic moving average crossover algorithm for entry signals. A long position gets opened whenever the fast MA crossovers the slow MA from below. Conversely, a short position gets opened when the crossover happens from above. Please note that this EA relies on the moving average calculations conducted by one of the custom charting indicators. Ensure that moving averages 1 and 2 are enabled in the indicator settings by setting the first and second MA variables to either line or dots values. The first MA is the fast moving average, and the second one is the slow moving average, so you should set the period settings accordingly. You can specify the remaining moving average parameter values as desired. Once you complete the custom charting indicator configuration, you can attach the EA by dragging and dropping it from the Navigator panel onto the chart. The Inputs tab groups the EA settings into 4 sections. The first section covers basic trade entry settings, such as the traded lot size, stop loss, and take profit levels. Here you can restrict the trading direction to either long or short positions. The default settings enable both long and short trades. You can also enable the stop and reverse feature for an always in the market configuration. This setting requires the stop loss and take profit values set to 0. Trade reversals and gaps ensure that no signal gets ignored. I'll go over settings for this scenario later in the video. The second section defines a trading schedule enabling you to restrict the EA's trading hours to a given trading session or time of increased volatility, thus minimizing the risk of trading during periods of consolidation. Note that the server time and not your computer time gets evaluated by the trading schedule. Keep this in mind when setting the trading schedule hours. You can additionally instruct the EA to automatically close the trade at the end of the trading schedule. The third segment sets up optional trade management rules for the trades placed by the EA. Use the break-even feature to move the stop loss to the trade entry price at a defined profit target. You need to specify the distance in points from the opening price that will trigger break-even for the trade. The default value of 0 turns this feature off. A trailing stop is defined using 2 parameters. The first one sets the distance of the trailing stop from the current price or turns the feature off if the value is 0. The second parameter defines the trailing stop trigger via setting the distance in points from the trade entry price. A partial close gets defined using 2 inputs, partial close at and partial close percentage. The first value sets the minimum distance from the opening price that triggers the partial close action. A setting of 0 disables the feature. The partial close percentage variable defines the portion of the traded lot size to close when the partial close at condition gets fulfilled. The last group of inputs defines a set of additional settings that you can leave at defaults. The only one you may want to change is the Trade ID setting. Trade ID labels the trades placed by the EA with a specific tag used by the EA's trade management module to ensure that only these trades get managed. Now let's cover a few use cases for the EA. Please keep in mind that you should always backtest every strategy to make sure you fully understand it and use it at your discretion. Example 1. Trend following strategy with fixed stop loss and trade management. This algorithm works best in trending market conditions. You can use the 200 smooth moving average for determining the current trend before running the EA. When both MAs are below the 200 moving average, we are in a downtrend. When both MAs are above the 200 moving average, we are in an uptrend. If all 3 MAs are frequently crossing or squeezing together, we are in a period of consolidation when we should avoid trading. The EA settings are as follows. A 100-point stop loss order protects each position. There will be no fixed take profit defined. For this example, I'm only going to enable short positions. I'm disabling trade reversals. I'll leave the trading schedule at default. I'll ensure that profits are partially taken at a 1-to-1 reward to risk ratio, and the stops get moved to break even when this happens. Additionally, I'll enable the trailing stop to a 2-to-1 reward to risk ratio. Let me demonstrate this scenario on the charts. The EA will open a short position when the two MAs cross over. This is also when the stop loss gets set to 100 points. Once the trade moves 100 points into profit, the EA will close 50% of the traded lot size and move the stop to break even. Once the trade moves 200 points into profit, the trailing stop will follow 100 points behind the price action. Eventually, the trade is closed via stop loss, and the EA looks for the next short signal until the end of the trading schedule. Example 2. Stop and reverse strategy with maximum stop loss setting and partial take profit. Each moving average crossover signal triggers a trade. This algorithm works best when the price action is bouncing between support and resistance zones. You don't want the range to be too narrow. The EA settings are as follows. A 100-point stop loss order protects each position. There will be no fixed take profit defined. I'm going to enable both long and short positions. I'll force stop and reverse behavior and make sure that reversal signals and gaps get recognized. I'll leave the trading schedule at default and will only enable the option of automatically closing the trade after the defined trading hours. I'll ensure that profits are partially taken at a 1-to-1 reward to risk ratio, and the stop gets moved to break even when this happens. Let me demonstrate this configuration on the charts. The EA will open a long position when the two MAs cross over. This is also when the stop loss gets set to 100 points. Once the trade moves 100 points into profit, the EA will close 50% of the traded lot size and move the stop to break even. The trade will be closed via stop loss or reversed on the next signal. The process will repeat until the end of the trading schedule. If the trade is still running after the trading schedule ends, it will be closed by the EA.